All right. I think we're live. Awesome. I see you guys are commenting, trying to join. I'm double checking to make sure we are officially live. Okay. All right, so I'm going to tag a few of you guys that said you wanted to be notified. Let's see, hopefully we don't freeze up here. All right. Welcome. If you can hear me, please let me know. Oh, I'm just gonna mute myself, but I should be able to see the live comments. So let me know if you can hear me. It's always a good thing to double check before you get going. Awesome. Hi, Maddie. All right, let's see. Okay, so Maddie, I will let you tag everybody that has requested to be tagged on this live. There's a few too many for me to go through. So I'm excited to dive in. But before we get started, okay, awesome. I don't know why you can't watch on your laptop. Facebook is so glitchy these days, but hopefully it'll resolve itself after a little while. I just got done recording something super exciting and new, but I can't tell you guys about it yet. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. You guys will all find out very, very soon. So just be patient. But I'm glad that's out of the way so I can focus on you guys. Welcome everyone. Welcome Jamie, Susan. Let's see if I can see. It won't show me who's actually watching live, but we'll just keep going. Awesome. So welcome everybody. Welcome to all the new members in the Facebook group. I think it's been a little while since I've personally gone live. You guys over the last few months have had a chance to meet my entire team. They are amazing and sweet and generous and kind and just completely committed to helping every one of our students and everybody in this group. Hi, Fana. Welcome. Good to see you. So yeah, I'm expecting a fair amount of people to jump on for this topic. And it kind of has been on my mind for a while, for a variety of reasons. Let me turn off my speaker. But we'll get into that in a minute. So I want to start out by just asking, who here has been told that they need to raise their prices? And who here has actually raised their prices in the last 12 months? I would love to know how many of you guys have kind of heard that advice come through and acted on it, and where that stands, but we'll get into all that in a minute. So if you have raised your prices in the last 12 months, put a me in the comments or a hand or anything like that. And then if you've been told to raise your prices in the last 12 months, yes, Fana, I know it is scary. Which is why I want to talk about it, because it's a little too easy to kind of just say, oh, you should just raise your prices. Just do it. Because there's so much at play that goes kind of along with the pricing. And so we'll talk about that today. So a little bit about me before we get started. My name is Ines McNeil. I'm the founder of The Modern Dog Trainer. I started that particular site back in 2014. I guess we'll have our 10-year anniversary in a few months here, in about 18 months. That'll be exciting. We'll have to plan something big. And really it came about as just personal experience. Like I had nothing to turn to when I was first getting started as a trainer. There was no information online about what it was like to actually run a dog training business. Yeah, there was stuff like how to start an LLC, how to get insurance, but nothing along the lines of this is what it's actually like to be a trainer. And this is what you're going to come across. This is um, how you should handle clients, how to teach group classes, all of that. None of that was available online for people that were just getting started like me back in the day. So I started the Modern Dog Trainer to kind of help put that information out there as I learned it. And it's kind of exploded into now I do business coaching for trainers and help you guys with marketing and building sustainable businesses that really suit who you are as a person and trainer. I have a bachelor's in biology, minor in psychology. I always forget to say that because it's, it's a minor, but I got to, in college, one of my psychology professors was actually an ABA professional out in the field that worked and did applied behavior analysis with children. And I got to go and see what that looked like with human children and how they modified their behavior. It was, I got to spend a whole day over there and just observe and watch. And so it was really interesting. And it was kind of my introduction to science-based training. Obviously, we use ABA in dog training as well. And so that was really cool to see. So I've been in the training industry for over 15 years. I started out in animal rescue in Texas when I was young. I spent basically every weekend growing up at the animal shelter and really got to know dogs. I got to get some really good dog handling skills. And I was really good at playing kind of adoption counselor. So I would get to know the people and get to know the dogs and play kind of matchmaker and guide them towards the right decision for their family. So I was doing that at a really young age. And I since don't do rescue anymore for a variety of reasons, but I'm very, very familiar with how dog rescue works. And that was my start. I have just joined the board of the APDT. This is my very first month being a board member, and it's been really exciting and interesting. And I'm really happy and excited to see where the APDT is going. So if you ever have questions about being a member, or you're interested in becoming a member, or you have suggestions for the APDT, I'm all ears. So just feel free to reach out and we can talk about it. What else? Yay, Santa says. Yes, so it looks like many of you have been told to raise your prices, and that's something that I've heard over and over the last 18 months, especially with the pandemic, with having dog training really having taken off because everybody got a dog as they were staying home. And that led to everybody being overworked and ultimately everybody being told, just raise your prices. Like that's going to fix everything. When really that's just one little piece of the puzzle. So we'll get into that in a minute and talk about why you can't just raise your prices. Before we get into that, I want to highlight the fact that we offer game plan calls. So these are complimentary conversations with our business strategist, Tylene. She has talked, I think we counted the other day, to over 200 trainers over the last 12 months. And so she's really gotten to know what your challenges are, what are kind of the missing puzzle pieces to getting your business to where it needs to be something that really supports you instead of you supporting the business. And so she offers these game plan calls to really start looking at what do you have in place, what else is missing, what kind of support do you have in place. And so it's a really great conversation. So if you are interested in having a third party, like outside person looking at your business and seeing what needs to kind of move or change to improve where you are, definitely book a game plan call with her. So I'll have Maddie, if she's still on, toss that link in the comments. So let me know, put a yes in the comments if you're ready for this discussion to start, this conversation to start about raising prices. I would love to see if you guys are ready. Hopefully you have a pen and paper ready because we're going to go through a variety of points that you probably want to be ready to take notes for. Awesome. Mary's ready. Awesome. Great. All right, let's get into it. So tell me, have you ever been told to just raise your prices? This has happened to so many of my students or soon to be students that we're talking to, like they've just been told to just raise your prices and that's just going to fix it all. And really, there's so many more aspects that you need to have in play before you can do that. So the reason this has been on my mind is I've heard some fairly notable speakers say or advise to the entire audience, raise your prices. Everybody needs to raise their prices, right? As an industry, we all need to raise prices. And it kind of made me cringe because that's kind of like one little piece of the puzzle. I don't want to call it a symptom, but you can't just do that and expect everything else to improve. Not everybody has a foundation in place to be able to do that without it affecting their business. So we'll go into what those look like. But ultimately, yes, I do think everybody needs to raise their prices. 99% of the people that come into my program, most of them double, if not triple or quadruple their pricing. So I know that it is certainly something that needs to be done for most trainers. I would say most trainers can probably double their prices, but you have to have some other pieces put together, some other foundations in place to be able to do that effectively. All right. By the way, I love seeing all of so many existing or current or past students on here. It's so fun to see you pop back up. Don't forget, you have a monthly call with me that you can join coming up in about 2 weeks to talk about this deeper, and we can get into what it looks like for your business, right? We have our Academy coaching call on the first Tuesday of every month. Awesome. Thanks, Maddie, for posting that. Okay, let's unpack what this looks like. So the reality is that the demand for dog training has just skyrocketed through the roof since everybody got a dog during the pandemic, right? And what this has resulted in is allowing trainers to kind of become complacent. There's so much demand that you really don't have to lift a finger to get your phone to ring or to get inquiries to come through. That's the case for a lot of people, and that's been nice, but things are kind of changing. People are kind of worried about what's happening with the market, with the economy. Layoffs are happening. So dog training, and everybody's gone back to work in the office, right? They're no longer at home with their dogs all the time. So dog training has kind of slid back down in priorities for a lot of people, and they're more likely to kind of want to wait to start training or take their time, when really we all know that the longer you wait to start training, the worse the problem's going to be and harder it is going to be to fix it. So ultimately, this high demand from the pandemic has allowed some complacency, some ease, and not having to really master all the aspects of running a business, and a lot of times ignoring parts of the business that are really important for steady and sustainable growth. That's a lot. So I have seen this happen over and over in a variety of levels in the students that we've gotten, from everybody that's just kind of starting out. Maybe they're already getting clients and they haven't really done much, but they're not necessarily ideal clients, or they're not consistent, to people that have been able to get to 6 figures, but actually don't really know how they got there, right? They don't know how they got so much demand. They're relying on referrals, the kindness of people's, heart, and word of mouth, which is not super sustainable because it's not within your control, right? So when people come to me, even if they are already at 6 figures, they usually need help with marketing. They need help with, okay, what do I do today to generate clients tomorrow? They don't have a plan in place. They don't have a system for that. Or they're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, okay? So just saying to raise your price is really kind of just an easy recommendation, but it doesn't solve the issue that you don't know how to get clients in the first place. And when you get the clients on the phone, you don't necessarily know what to say. All right. Let me circle back to my bullet points so I don't forget anything. One of the, no, we're not going to get to that one yet. So the main point here is that don't let key pieces of your business fall through because it's just been easy up to this point, right? There are things that you need to put in place, some systems to put in place so that you know 3 months from now that you're still going to be getting new client inquiries and you're not going to be reliant on other people, the kindness of other people's heart to talk about your business and your work to grow your business and continue your income at the level that it is, which is kind of a trap I see so many people fall into. I'm kind of skipping around here. So if you're seeing that this part of your foundation is missing, I want you to think about two things for marketing and one thing for sales, okay? So first, for marketing is, do you know exactly what you can do today to generate new client inquiries from ideal clients? Or are you relying on referrals? Let me know in the comments if you know exactly what you can do today to go and get yourself some clients if you need it, right? If that influx of inquiries stops. I'll wait for some of you guys to answer. And you know what? If you're reliant on referrals or word of mouth, like that is where I think 90% of my students start out. They are, they have built an amazing business. They have really great customer service. They generate really great results. And so inquiries kind of just naturally start building up from word of mouth. That said, that's not within your control, right? You have no way of, turning up the volume if you want to add to your team, or if that slows down, it's really hard to have control over word of mouth. It's not really where any business wants to be, even though it's a really nice thing to have. All right, I'm not gonna wait for Facebook. There we go. Hi, Sylvia. Relying on referrals and word of mouth, but working on building relationships on my pages. Awesome. Yeah. And then number 2 for marketing is, do you know how to get past clients to come back again? Do you know, what you can do, what you can put in place to get clients to come back? Because it's so much less expensive to bring in existing clients that have already worked with you. They've already been sold on you. They enjoyed working with you. And they're usually happy to come back for more. Then it's so much easier to do that than to go out and get brand new clients each time, right? Which when I was first getting started, that was 100% a weakness of mine, was just working with somebody for, the length of their package and then sending them off on their way and not staying in touch with them to continue offering any kind of support. So let me know if you know how to get past clients to come and work with you again. That's a really important piece. All right, I'm not going to wait for Facebook. I think there's a pretty strong delay. Number 3, kind of for sales specifically. Do you know exactly what to say on a sales call so that people don't get hung up on pricing? So my students are given a proven script to use on sales calls. It's no longer the client just asking you questions or giving you what they want to share. Really, we flip the script, right? We give you the know-how to run a call with a potential client in a way that's going to help them realize that they need to work with you, that they do have a problem that's worth solving right now, that training is really valuable and that you need to, they need to act on it right now instead of waiting. So if you don't know how to run sales calls in a way that's going to get people to sign up right then and there without feeling like they've been, duped in some way, you want it to be with an integrity to who you are, but you also know that you have the skills that they need right away to solve their challenge with training. And we all know as trainers that it's really not good to wait. So you want to make sure that you don't, let people hang up without getting a solution in place, right? And then do you know exactly what your clients want from training? So I remember back when I was first starting as a trainer, you get hung up on saying, I'm offering group classes, I'm offering 3 lesson packages, and ooh, it's such a good deal. But really you forget to communicate like what is going to happen as a result of going through the class, as a result of going through your package. Do you know exactly what your clients want to get out of training, and like really what that transformation is that they're seeking, rather than like the prescription, like that's a good way to put it. Your classes, your private lessons, day training, board and trains, that is your prescription, right? But the solution or the transformation they're looking for is, how are they going to feel at the end of that? How are they going to be impacting their quality of life at the end of that prescription? Right? So if you don't know really what they're looking for, what problem they need to solve, beyond just teaching a dog how to sit and stay, then it's something you really want to be looking at and learn how to articulate that to students or potential clients on the phone. So this is something that I give all my students. They get an entire process and system to follow to really level up their business, and not just the prices, right? You want to have ways to get new clients in the door. You want to know how to talk to those potential clients so they understand why it's just an amazing opportunity to work with you, not just the next person they're going to find off of Google. And when you have those 2 things in place, it's really easy to raise your prices, and it makes so much more sense because you're also seeing the value that you're delivering to people, beyond just private lessons and group classes, right? All right, let's dive into some marketing misconceptions. I think that when I think back to when I was first getting started, like the general advice that I could find on the internet was, look at what your competitors are charging, right? Look at what the market is at. Or I felt like I needed to price myself based off of my level of experience, which is what happens with a lot of my students. They're maybe just graduating KPA or Catch or Victoria Stilwell Academy, and they're like, well, I don't have a whole lot of like in-person experience, hands-on experience, even though they really do, and they just don't realize it. And so they think they need to charge less. But the reality is that you know so much more than the person that's calling in to ask for your help, right? And then on top of that, when it comes to comparing yourself to competitors, is you're going to offer a completely different experience than your competitors offer, right? Just you as a human being are different than the other competitors. So it's really not something I recommend. It really doesn't matter what your competitors are charging. You guys are totally different. For me, it's like comparing apples to oranges, when really, just because you're a fruit doesn't mean you need to be at the same price. Even apples can be different prices. So don't let other competitors, other trainers set your prices for your business and your clients. The only person that it has to make sense to is the person that's buying your services. And no 2 trainers are alike or providing the exact same experience. So make sure you look internally with, what makes sense for you, what makes sense for what you want to offer, who you want to serve, before you even consider anybody else's opinion. And don't fall into the trap of asking your friends and family either. And that's because they're not the ones actively looking for dog training help, right? They don't understand the value that you're providing because their life is not in shambles or has been, greatly impacted by a dog. They're just going off of what they see at PetSmart, and they're like, why are you charging $1,000 for what I can get at PetSmart? And the reality is, no, it is not at all the same that you get at PetSmart, right? No offense to PetSmart. It's just totally different. So don't worry about your competitors. It should not be the number one thing you look at when you're first getting started or looking at your pricing. Definitely look at what you have to offer and what you can help people with and who those people are. All right, let me see. All right, let me know if you guys are ready for some strategies to communicating price to your customers or price changes, right? So let's say you're getting ready to raise your prices. You maybe have your marketing in place. You've got plenty of inquiries coming in. You know how to get those people to sign up and they see your value. They don't even care about the price. And you're ready to narrow down your clients to really ideal clients. And so what do you do with those existing customers that you have? Let me know, put a 4 in the comments if you're ready for a suggestion here for some communicating your price change to your existing customers. Oh, Facebook, come on, Facebook. There's quite a delay, I think. All right, put a 4 in the comments if you're ready. And then while you guys do that, I am going to make sure I haven't missed any points I wanted to make sure to hit. Talked about misconceptions, about looking at competitors. We talked about how the demand for training has really impacted and kind of weakened dog training businesses, even though the demand has been high. It's really easy to forget some other really important pillars to a solid foundation for business. Talked about why you can't just raise your prices. You need to have a way to get clients and sell to clients, and it's streamlined, systematized way to do that, not just rely on word of mouth. Laura says, "Bore." And so number 4, we're going to talk about some strategies for communicating price changes to your customers. So this is like one of the biggest hangups I see when people are getting ready to announce their new revamped offers with some brand new pricing that might be a little bit of sticker shock for people. And the reality is that it's very likely that what you're doing now, what you're offering now, is already worth 4 figures. When students come to me, they are going above and beyond for their clients. They're basically on-call trainers, so they can get a call or a text anytime from their clients. They're providing a level of customer support and service that warrants a premium price point, right? So you're already doing everything that you could possibly do. Well, maybe not everything, but you're already going above and beyond for customers and clients. And so the value is there already. You just have to kind of come around to see it and then explain it to customers. So one of the things you can do when you're ready to launch a new program, and you need to kind of share that with some existing customers, you need to get them to either move into that or move out of the way. And really the one thing I tell people, or my students, when you're getting ready to announce this, is 2 things. Is 1, come up with a timeline. Come up with a deadline. This is the last day you can possibly sign up for any of my existing services. So give them a deadline that they need to either buy now or they're going to have to move into the next program that you're offering, right? And then number 2 is I always tell my students to explain how the price increase is actually going to benefit the client. So how is this new price actually going to give your client a better experience, a better result, more things, more amazingness from you, right? So how is it they're going to get more out of working with you through this new price point? Sometimes it's just a matter of explaining what that transformation is going to look like. So if somebody's paying for a 6-lesson private lesson package and they're like going through training, they know they need training, it's working, things are happening, but they've lost sight of the vision of where they're headed, right? Sometimes all you need to do is just circle back to that vision, that transformation that you guys are working towards, and explain it in a way that the customer or the client sees that final destination again. They understand where they're headed. They understand what stepping stones they need to jump to get to that destination, that better quality of life, better relationship with their dog. And sometimes just really repositioning what you're doing is enough. Sometimes you can add extra support. Sometimes you can add tools like technology that's going to help them stay on top of training or manage training more effectively. So there's all kinds of things you can put in place to articulate why this higher price point is actually going to give them a better experience with you or a better result with you. Okay, so make sure you understand kind of what is that change that's going to be put in place. Why is that higher price point beneficial to them? And certainly give them a deadline so that they understand how much time they have left or to take action and jump in. Okay. So there's, again, to circle back to the topic of this conversation is very much why you can't raise your price or just raise your price is that you need to have marketing in place. You need to know how to generate your new client inquiries. You need to know what you're going to be saying on the phone and articulating the value of your new price point. And being able to explain to people why that new price point makes sense and how it's going to benefit them in the long run, right? Why it's worth it. So when I hear people just say, just raise your price, there's just so many other factors in play that we have to address, right? All right. So how are you guys feeling? Do you feel like you have enough support to be able to make these changes effectively in your business? If you do, put an A in the comments. If you have a really great support system and you're just ready to rock and roll and you don't need any external help. Or if you are feeling like you don't have enough support, you've just been spinning your wheels, put a B in the comments, right? And this is because ultimately who you surround yourself with, you become more like them, right? I forget what the exact saying is. I'm not good with quotes, but who you surround yourself with is extremely important. And so make sure you've got that support in place. So if you have that support, you know exactly what you need to do. Put an A in the comments. And if you feel like you don't have enough support, it's okay. It's lonely to run your own business. Everything's on your shoulders, and sometimes it can feel like you're just spinning your wheels when you're in it. It's really hard to see out of it and see kind of what the next step looks like. Oh, Lisa, I feel you. I know it's hard. There's just so much to juggle, right? And then there's also like tons of coaching programs out there, but they're not at all designed or created by dog trainers or operated by dog trainers. So having been in this industry, I know what those recommendations look like, and I know how it actually applies in the real world to trainers out there in the field. So there are certain ways you kind of have to go about doing things to be able to stay within integrity to yourself, right? And the dogs and what you're offering. And a lot of people that are outside of dog training don't get that. So yeah, it kind of reminds me, oh, Lori, I see you. I know it's really hard to run your own business. That's why a lot of people drop out. But I was kind of looking back through some of the stories of people we've worked with. And one of the ones that really stood out to me today is Lavinia. I think I said that name correctly. Please correct me if you watch this and I didn't say it right. But basically she was struggling with just the day-to-day of her business. She was not getting any family time. And she just felt like she was just constantly juggling a million things, right? She didn't have a solid plan or system to actually be able to work effectively. So she was kind of just spinning her wheels and just doing a lot of things, kind of feeling productive in the moment, but then hitting the end of the day and realizing, what have I actually gotten accomplished today? And so she finally came to the conclusion that she wasn't going to be able to figure it out all on her own. And she came on board to the academy, and we gave her some of those solutions, some strategies that have been proven time and again. Extensive support. We have like one-on-one support. We have group coaching every week. We have monthly group coaching with me, a group, Facebook group, really like insane levels of support. A spreadsheet with all the things you need to be doing every day to move the needle in your business. And now she's making at least 3 times what she was making, but not feeling overworked, right? So she's tripled her revenue and is not feeling overworked. She's able to spend time with her family. And she also said that she gained the confidence and the security of knowing exactly what to do, right? So you know exactly what to do to generate your own clients, then you don't have to wake up in a month and wondering, why is the phone not ringing, right? Because you've put those things in place and you know exactly what to do every day to make sure the phone doesn't stop ringing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And what we put in place is really like I call it a 3-step. I've kind of explained it in like a 4-step process, but it really comes down to 3 main steps. The first is really self-reflection, getting to know who you are and what's the best way to build a business so that it's really within integrity to you. And I mean you as a trainer, but also you and your personality, knowing, working with your strengths and really accepting the fact that you want to work with a certain kind of person and really going with that instead of thinking that you need to just work with everybody. So really building something that's within integrity to yourself as a trainer and as a human being. Step 2 is designing that profitable program. So I had to play on words there. I love using the word PAW in a lot of the different stuff that I do. So we call it the profitable program design. And that's where we really understand what your clients want out of training. We understand how to articulate the value of your services. And not only are you able to like explain it to somebody else, but you really start to internalize like how amazing you are. It's the best way to put it. You start to see your own value in like the way that your work really changes people's lives for the better. And you start to see yourself becoming a trainer that has 4-figure programs, that has no doubt that those are, you know, like equal to the value that you're providing, because you really understand how you're impacting people's lives. And then the 3rd step is putting that clicks to clients marketing system in play so that you understand every day when you get up in the morning, you have certain things that you need to do first and foremost so that your phone doesn't stop ringing, right? Awesome, Laura. Right? So if you have your marketing system in play and it's moving and grooving and, you know, 3 months down the line, you're not going to have any more seasonality to your business because you're going to have a list of people on the wait list to be working with you. And you're able to enroll people consistently. And you're able to turn people that like you into really ideal, passionate clients that don't even care what your price is to begin with, right? They're not going to Google to find trainers. They're coming to you specifically and exclusively because they like who you are and they like what you have to offer as a trainer, right? They see clearly why you're so amazing and why you're worth the price that you're charging. And you believe it for yourself too. So that's kind of like the three-step system that we really follow consistently across the board. So with that, if you're ready to look at your pricing, see if you're ready to increase your price, but hopefully also level up your whole business, then we offer that complimentary game plan call for people that are Not students. Students can join the coaching calls, guys. But also people that are considering either working with us or really just need an outside perspective to look at where are the gaps, where are the holes in your existing business, where are things falling through, the maybe understanding, what pieces of your marketing you need to kind of fill the gap in. We can have a game plan call with Ty, or Tylene is her full name. She likes to go with Ty. She's a sweetheart and extremely generous and really deeply, truly cares about the success of every single person that we bring into our circle. And so she's amazing. So yeah, thanks, Maddie. You can click the link in the comments to start that conversation. And she will circle up. She is pretty quick to follow up and talk with you guys. Okay. So if you have any questions, please toss those in the comments, and I will be around a little bit longer to answer questions in the comments. If you're watching the replay, put #replay if you've made it this far. And I hope that you guys have found this helpful and have a better understanding as to why just broadly proclaiming that you should just raise your prices is not the way to fix things, right? There's other foundations you need to have in place in order to build a sustainable, growing dog training business. Okay. I hope you guys have found this helpful. Put those comments or questions in the chat or in the comment section, and I will definitely be around to respond today. All right. Thank you so much for joining, and don't forget to schedule your game plan call. Talk to you later.